Hello, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I would do a video on my newborn essentials now that Maddison is no longer a newborn. She's 16 weeks old today, so I thought I would do a video on what my must-haves are for a newborn. Okay, so I've got them all around me, so let's start with the earliest thing we used, and it's probably the thing that we almost use the most. There's a couple of items that we use just as much, but the first one we used was this big thing. You can see it there. So this is a capsule, baby capsule. It's the Maxi Cozy Micro AP Isofix capsule. So this one clicks into the car and into the pram, and it's rated to 6 months, and we use it every day. Well, I use it every day now that she's no longer a newborn, because she still fits in it because it's rated to 6 months, but we had to have that to bring her home, and it was one of the best things we've done and purchased. It was a little bit expensive, but it was really worth it because she sleeps in it, and if we get somewhere I don't have to pull her out of a car seat. I can just click that out of the car, click it into the pram, or even just carry it in and set it down, which is great. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing that we used for coming home, so that was coming home from hospital. The next thing would be, we'll go with these disposable change mats. Now I got these as a gift, and I thought I'm never going to use these because I have a pretty fabric covered change mat over here, and I thought I'll use that. But when we got home I thought, oh, I'll just put one of these down because she was still had a bit of meconium, and I thought just in case, I don't want to have to continue cleaning that one. And 16 weeks later we still use these, and we're on to our second packet. They're just really good at the beginning when your newborn is still adjusting to when their nappy gets changed, and occasionally when the nappy gets undone or comes off, things happen. They're not just, and it's mainly because of a change of temperature, so these are really good in the interim whilst they're still gaining control of their bowels. It's much better now, but this is great just in case of those explosive nappies. So definitely these, and they're really, really affordable, so that's great. So next thing for at home, and they sort of go hand on. First thing is, we'll go with this one first. One of these. So this is a breast pump. Now I didn't buy this before I had Maddison. I actually bought this probably a week post-birth, and the reason I waited was because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to breastfeed, anything like that, and I didn't want to go out and spend all this money on a breast pump. However, I found that when my milk came in I was really engorged, and my daughter Maddison was struggling to latch properly because I was so engorged, and she was quite small, that she was really struggling, and TMI warning, she was destroying my nipple. And I literally said to Ryan, my husband, that if I don't go out and buy a breast pump, my breastfeeding journey is over. So we went out a couple of days after I got home from hospital and we bought that breast pump. So this breast pump is the Philips Avent single electric pump. It does come in a double, but I didn't want to spend the money to get a double, so it just takes me twice as long to pump this one. And then this one has like a little power cord as well, and then just this thing here, which is great. And it definitely saved my breastfeeding because I was able to pump exclusively for a couple of days just to give myself a bit of a break from her latching or latching poorly. And it allowed my nipples to recover a little bit more, and I continued breastfeeding, and she was still getting the breast milk, which was great. But the next thing leading on from that is when I had my midwife and my child health nurse visit, they had a chat to them about the fact that I moved to a bit of expressing. Oh, and I probably should add that I also use the Avent natural bottles, which are meant to be used paired with breastfeeding. So they actually come in a pack with that, but we did have some purchased in the event that I couldn't breastfeed. But I did continue to breastfeed, which was great. The next thing, which I had never thought of, and someone did say to me, oh, you'll definitely get one, they're a lifesaver, is one of these little things. I don't know if you can see it, sorry. That is a nipple shield. So this is a Medela nipple shield. I also have Avent ones as well, but this is one I got given by my midwife who came to visit, who's also a lactation consultant, and she said that this will, it pretty much just forced my daughter to open her mouth a little more, and still allowed her to breastfeed instead of having to take express milk. And we actually used the nipple shield for quite a long time. I probably used the nipple shield up until about probably about 12 weeks at least, I think. So yeah, and you know, I still fed her without it on occasion, but it just made the experience that much easier for us both, because it was able to allow her to get a proper latch, and I was able to feed for longer because she wasn't hurting me essentially. And that's not from, and the reason she was getting such a difficult or inefficient latch is because her mouth was quite little and I was quite engorged, and even when I would express to have less to help her feed, it still was a little bit too much for her. So the nipple shield definitely helped, and it definitely helped when she got to that 10 to 12 week stage where she was starting to get a little distracted whilst feeding, and she would just completely rip off. And if you've breastfed, that's not very pleasant, so having a nipple shield just sort of protected my nipple just that little bit extra. Okay, so the next thing is, this. She's not this little anymore, but it's cute to remember that she was this little. So this little tiny little onesie. So this is a Bonds Wondersuit. So in Australia, Bonds is really popular. I just love this. This is a newborn one. It's really great because it's like a nice breathable stretchy material. It has little hand things so you can, obviously when their nails are really long at birth, so their hands can either be out or you can tuck it over and it covers their hands, and it has it on the feet as well. It has a double-ended zip, which is just amazing, which is really handy when you have a newborn who needs their nappy changed quite often, especially in the night. So you can literally just zip it up from the bottom or the top. I love these so much that pretty much whenever Bonds have a sale, I buy some, and Maddison doesn't sleep in anything else now. This is what she sleeps in every night of the week. So we have a good 7 or 8 rotation, and I have them now purchased up to size 1. So I'll definitely do a haul when my next Bonds order comes, because I did order a little bit more, but they were having 40% off, so I saved on that one. Okay, so the next thing is this. So it doesn't have to exactly be this. I don't actually know what these are called, but this was a handmade gift from a friend, and you can either make one yourself, but I think I have seen them at the shops. I just can't remember what they're called. So it's this little noise maker tassel-y thing. So from my understanding is they're good for babies when they get a little bit older for like a bit of sensory development. So like touching different fabrics, so like all the little bows. And then like one side is this like soft flannelette, and this is like something else. So it's actually Star Wars, which a friend made for me, and it has this noise thing. Now it's the noise part that Maddison really liked. Now this is a newborn must-have, only because newborns hate their nappy being changed. They absolutely hate it, and it's just because they get cold, and that's all it really is, and it just takes some adjustment. So we had this, and it was just sitting around one day, and we just went like this above Maddison when we were changing a nappy, and she stopped crying, and we went, oh, so we left it on the change table and continued to do. We still use this for getting dressed at bedtime, because for some reason getting dressed at bedtime is not pleasant. getting dressed in the morning or in the middle of the day, no problem, but at night he's just not a fan. So this is what we use. It's that crinkly, like I literally think it's probably like cellophane maybe in between two pieces of fabric. So you could definitely make one of these. If we've lost this by the time and we have another baby, I'm either going to make one myself or I'm going to get the friend who made this for us to make us another one, because definitely a lifesaver. Okay, next thing is this. What's a part of it, I haven't brought the whole thing in the room with me, is this. It's our Oricom monitor. So this is the receiver. So this does audio and video. Now this particular monitor is great, I love it. So it has breathing sensor pads. So we currently have one on our bassinet, and it has little sensor, and it literally sounds like a fire alarm. So after decreased breathing or no breathing for 20 seconds, it sounds an alarm, and like I said, sounds like a fire alarm. It's very, very loud, and in the first couple of nights that we had it, trust me, I made the mistake of picking my child up out of her bassinet and forgetting to turn the alarm off, and it sounds off in the middle of the night. I learned very quickly not to do that again, but it just, for me, as a first time mum, it definitely added that extra security for me, because I spent, especially because Maddison was a really good sleeper from when we brought her home from hospital. She was already sleeping 4-hour stretches in the first couple of nights we brought her home. So it gave me that security to know that if she was to stop breathing or anything like that, that the alarm would go off. And then now that she has a bedtime and we're, you know, down the other end of the house, we have the breathing alarm on, obviously, but we also have this on. So it does have a video camera thing that's on my bedside table that faces the bassinet, and it sets this off and turns it on, and the video comes on. And it also has a room thermometer in this, so you can obviously see if the room's getting cooler or hotter. And yeah, definitely a great monitor. I love it and highly recommend this Oricom monitor. So yeah, definitely good for newborn and continuing on after she's newborn. Right, next thing, this. It's very, very controversial about whether you're going to use one or not. We weren't planning to use one. We were really hoping that we would get away with it, and we made it to 3.5 weeks, and then Maddison got a cold, and just feeding wasn't enough to satisfy her, especially when she got a cold. She was a bit grizzly, and that is a dummy or a pacifier or a binky, whatever you like to call them. So these are the Philips Avent ones. So originally we hadn't planned on buying them. We didn't buy them before Maddison was born, but one of the sets of bottles that we got from Philips Avent actually had one in there, and one day we just went, oh, we'll just try it, because there was nothing that was settling her, and she was just really upset, and she was fed and changed and all those things, and she just wanted something to suck on. I probably should have realised that she had a real need to suck, because she, one, came out of the womb with a little like blister on her hand here from sucking on it. All her ultrasound photos are her like this, with her hand in front of her mouth, sucking. And when we did our first lot of skin to skin, she was sucking on my face, like through here, because she was like here, and it was all, she was trying to suck on here. And she latched pretty quickly once I was in recovery and able to breastfeed. So I probably should have realised that having a dummy was something that was going to be unavoidable. And so yes, if you're going to use a dummy, I recommend strongly a dummy clip. This is one that was a gift for us. We also used, oh, I've got one here, oh, the nubby ones, until we got this one, which was a gift, which is very, very pretty. I love it. Just because they don't have enough control in their mouth to hold it in their mouth for forever, so this just stops it from dropping and losing it. So that's a great thing to do. And these things, here we go. Next thing, newborn, is these muslin wraps. I think everyone uses muslin wraps. Muslin wraps are great for anything from providing a bit of shade, wrapping them up, whether it's for a swaddle or just put something over them to protect them from the sun or keep them a bit warm. Also, wiping up any baby spit or spit up is great. Protecting a surface if you're going to lie them down on something. We used, not this one, but we used bigger ones of these to swaddle Maddison because she was born in summer, and I showed you what she was wearing. We didn't put her in too much, but just to keep her swaddled. She now sleeps in a sleep bag, but when she was very, very little, she was swaddled in a muslin wrap. Okay, and the final thing, and again, all personal preference. It's up to you what products you want to use, and not everyone uses one of these, but I love mine, and I'm so grateful that I got one. And it's a little heavy at the moment. It's a nappy bin or a diaper genie or whatever you want to call it. So this is the Tommy Tippy Sangenic nappy bin. And essentially they dispose of your nappies. Well, I don't dispose of them, but they a bin for your nappies essentially, so you don't have to go outside every time. I've not had a scent problem with it. It's really easy to use. The only thing I would possibly say about this one is the refill cartridges are probably a little more expensive than some of the other ones I've seen. In saying that though, if you don't go to a baby store, if you look online, so I think we bought our last lot of refills from eBay, and you'll save some money. But you know, you can go into some baby stores and they're like $20 a refill, but we'll last a cartridge will last us maybe two weeks, maybe two to 3 weeks. Yeah, so they last a really long time. Obviously that'll change as her nappies get bigger, but it's just a lifesaver, like especially because I don't want to have to walk outside with a nappy every time, especially when I'm at home on my own. I just don't want to have to do that. And then you literally just unclick it, tie the bag off, and you just carry the whole bin of nappies outside and it's done. So yes, definitely a nappy bin if that is your thing. Of course, if you just want to take your nappies out every time you change your baby's nappy, that's fine too. But I just love my nappy bin and would definitely recommend them. So they're all my newborn essentials. And all of these items really helped me through the newborn stage in lots of different ways, which I have explained. Thanks for watching my newborn essentials video. I hope you were able to get an idea about what items are good for a newborn if you have one coming along soon, and I will see you in my next video.